This is Rich Denny with the Travis County Historical Commission. It is December 6th, 2023. Sometimes it's easier to demonstrate or talk about a point with a video. So I've done this in the past. Seems to work out pretty well. So this concerns Nameless, Texas. Work we've been doing with Nameless. I will start with what I'm trying to show. So in 1885, the USGS did a survey of Travis County that included Nameless, Baghdad, Leander. This is just a part of that map. Given that the USGS put Nameless, you'll notice they use squares. The icons here, the legend, the symbols, they do squares of different sizes. Here Baghdad and Leander are like 4 squares. There are other towns that are 3. It's just a designation of the size. And we'll see here in a second that we know that the population at this point was about 50 people. We'll see that here in a second. But the main point of this video is the USGS placed the community center of Nameless at the intersection of these 2 roads. This road is pretty straightforward. And here's Sandy Creek. This is today it's Nameless Road. The question, however, was we knew we had a road that ran from Nameless up past Baghdad and to Leander. And here's the railroad tracks. So it was at a major intersection. You notice there's not a lot of roads that they've called out on this map. The problem is that even though we know this is Nameless and we know where Sandy Creek is at, there aren't enough landmarks on the topographic map in 1885 to let us know where that intersection actually was. I had a suspicion of where it was, so that's what the goal of this is to demonstrate that it's going to be to demonstrate that that intersection is across the road from today's Nameless School. That's property owned by Travis County. It's the Nameless School and the Nameless Cemetery. But in 1885, it was non-existent yet. So the question was, can we show where that intersection was, where the road in from Leander was? So a bit of a refresher. This is from the Texas State Gazetteer and Business Directory. This was one of the sources that was used in the historical marker application for Nameless. So the date is 1882-83, so general time frame of 1885. We've got a population of 50. It says it was established in 1880, and we've got the 1880 census that lists the various people, general location, etc. information. Has 1 church and school. Keep in mind, the current Nameless School was not there in 1882-83. That is what we have come to find out was a school on a school tract. It was called Fairview School on a tract of land 1.5 acres that H.S. Gray and Eliza Gray donated to the county in 1877. And so we've located that. Talks about exports cotton, exports cedar posts and nails. This is pertinent, for example, to the some of the architecture we've seen in the gray house that has been moved from its original location over to the county property. Stroud. P.T. Stroud is the postmaster, and he's also owns a general store. And the teacher at Fairview School is a W.P. Burns. He shows up in the 1880 census as a teacher. And in 1880, he's in Williamson County. So he could have, so that was in 1880 census. And then here we're in 1882. So there's one possibility. I mean, it could be that he moved down. We think that H.S. Gray, who was a teacher also in 1860, could have been the first teacher. I won't go into the timeline on him, but W.P. Burns may have well taken over duties for various family reasons. Eliza passed in 1882. Well, one of the questions is, could he have reasonably commuted, quote, commuted? Williamson County line is not that far north of Nameless. The two are pretty, Travis and Williamson County are pretty close. So, in looking at this road that we're going to look at, it's very well possible that he could have been, quote, commuting down to the school, still living he may have been living in 1880. He may have started teaching in 1880. He's listed as a teacher. Anyway, that's part of the tie into this. Again, for some context, so here's a list of the postmasters for Nameless post office. So in 1880, the first postmaster is P.T. Stroud, and we know from the 1880 census that he was a neighbor of the Grays, a couple of houses away. And in 1885, which is the year of the USGS survey, it's now J.P. Corley. I seem to remember also reading the application, the marker application, that I think it was Corley that died. They had some function. Well, yeah, I mean, looking at the dates, you'll notice. So he becomes the not to laugh. He becomes the postmaster in 85, and that same year we got a different postmaster. It seems like reading in the application, he died at some kind of social function related to the church. Okay, so to return to the map, the key issue is that in 1885 we don't have enough landmarks to determine where on Nameless Road that intersection was at. And that's important because the USGS is telling us, hey, this is what we consider the center of town or a center of the community, a central point in the community. So we'd like to know where that intersection is. And again, I had a suspicion, so I think what I'm going to show you bears that out. So the first clue that I found that it was where I thought it was, there's a very rare 1934 map that hangs in the Travis County Archives. In bad shape, large map, wall size map. And it's been really useful for solving a lot of different problems, even though it's 1934. It was a school map, school district map, and road map. So at the time, you'll notice here it's got the word Nameless. That's the community. And the school is Fairview School. That's at the new current location. That's county property. It's where the cemetery is, like right here. And so kind of obscured here, there's a building here that they marked. Anyway, there is a road. So the map showed that there was a road, I'm tracing here, that came in from the north, which is what we're looking for, and intersected with Nameless Road. And that location of that intersection was right across the street from today's Nameless School, Fairview School. So it's like, that seems to indicate that, and you see here, they're putting Nameless right in here, okay, that this is the intersection that I thought it was. And that this is also the intersection of where the Gray House was moved, or was originally located, that we have this year, earlier this year, moved from here over to and back of the school for preservation, because this area is being developed. So if you were to look at this map expanded, you would see that indeed this road here does indeed go all the way up to Baghdad, past Baghdad and Liberty Hill. This is a time when they put distances on maps. So using those distances at the north end, at the start of this road, I estimated, looking at current maps, that it was what is today called County Road 290. So County Road 290. So County Road 290 on the 1930 map would have run all the way from up near Liberty Hill, where it starts, all the way down. Now, of course, back in 1885, they didn't call it County Road 290. They probably called it, that was before they were numbering highways. So it might have been called, from the Nameless perspective, the Leander Road, because it went to Leander, or Baghdad Road. So now we're to the meat of what I want to do here, and that is to establish that there was a road as late as 1962. The aerials out here, we have the latest aerial, or I'm sorry, the earliest aerials that we have are 1962 and 1964, and we know the Turners owned the Gray House up till 1964 when they moved out. And we have the 1964 aerials are actually better quality, but for purposes of this, showing the road from Leander, turns out the 62 worked out better. So some key points on here are going to be Leander, and by Leander, and when I was figuring out where things were at, I used the intersection of the main road here and the railroad tracks, because railroad tracks don't move. So that was a good point of reference that I knew was not going to move, and it's on the 1885 map. So today, here is the start of County Road 290. Let me turn this on quickly here. So I just turned on in Google Maps. Okay, so anyway, I'm having some problems with my screen recorder. Here's the start of County Road 290 today. And if you look on the map, it's a pretty short road. It runs down to about right here, and then we've got development. Okay, but it's just a section of the road it was. So that's what we're gonna work on. And then the other, so at the end of 290, County Road 290, this road from Leander, what we're going to wind up is down here, and I'm going to show that the intersection was actually right here. This is the intersection where the USGS terminates, Nameless School, where the Gray Cabin, you can see the Gray Cabin before it was moved. And over here is where we determined that the 1.5 acre school lot was located. So we're going to try to show that there is a line there's a road that was in existence between these 2 points. and that the intersection of that road was across from where the school is at and where the gray cabin was located. So now what I've done is I've turned on the 1962 aerial photograph. Travis County had aerial photographs taken in 1940. Unfortunately, they didn't go up into this section of Travis County. So 62 is what we're working with, but I think as it turns out, we're okay because it demonstrates. So you see the label 290 here, 290 here. I'm going to take off the modern roads so that it's not so confusing. So modern roads, complicated, old road, now gone. So now we're back to 1962, looking at the world. All right. So here's the start. So we're going to walk down. So first of all, so we've already demonstrated. If you look at this road right here, when I'm clicking this on and off, you can see that that section of the old 290 is still intact. And in fact, when you get down here, you can see what they've done is a neighborhood popped up, but traces of the road are still there today. And in fact, as we go down through here, we're going to see that. So scrolling down a little bit further, okay, here, we're still on that old road. Okay. Going to come down a little bit more. We'll do this kind of a section at a time here. So here it is. Pieces of it still there today, but bang, we got a slight disruption in the old road. It's become somebody's neighborhood. All right, but I'm going to go back and forth here. Actually, it looks like, looking at this, it looks like the road actually, the neighborhood kind of follows the contours of the old road here. I don't know what this is, GS. It's on the aerial photograph. Okay, I'm going to come down here. And we see, yep, we still got bits of the old road that are still there. Just think, this is the old road. This is the old 1962 road, and per the 1885 USGS, there was some, I'm sure they deviated a little bit, but we're interested in the start and the end points to show where the intersection was at. Okay, so we got, here's Treviso stuff in here. But we continue on down the road. We're starting to look familiar here. So the road is coming in here from Leander, and interesting. There's the school lot. Road goes right by the school lot. Then heads off to the west here. By gosh, there's the gray cabin. Now this is a low res. I bought a large copy of this map, low resolution. The 64, we can zoom in and see, the cars parked in front of the house and stuff. But for this purpose, the low res does okay. So again, comes in here. This is familiar territory. There's the intersection of where this road that comes from Leander intersects with Nameless Road. There's Nameless School. And if we pull that off, by gosh, how about that? There's the gray cabin, Nameless School, of course, the intersection right here. And we know, it's hard to tell in this particular view, and it doesn't look like this now. We know from driving over to the cabin that the entrance to Nameless Valley Ranch is, I guess it's up here, isn't it? and then we come in like this. So the old intersection, the old road looked more like, so Nameless Valley Ranch is not the old road. This is the old road. And in fact, the Nameless Valley Ranch Road, you can see here, doesn't even exist in 1962. Okay, it's this road. And right in here is where the Nameless cabin is located. You can kind of make it out here. Here's where the we've got a corral. There was an outbuilding, probably a barn, a corral, some other things in this area. And the distance over to the, again, so he donated, the Gray family donated 1.5 acres that we wound up determining to be over here. You can't tell, you can't really tell it. I don't know. Let me see if I can switch this. Yeah, I can. So now I'm in 3D view here. You can tell this is a creek, and that was the key to figuring out the start of the meets and bounds, the calls that they made in the 1877 deed. Okay, so that's it. Circling back to where we started and the goal, Survey 1885 USGS has Nameless Road and this mystery road coming in from Leander, and we know that mystery road is now or would become County Road 290, and that as late as 1962 there was a road that ran from here all the way down. It has since, there's bits of it that are still in existence, but it's been disrupted in various places by subdivisions and stuff. But again, the point is that the intersection of that road is right there. And so in some sense, the USGS dropped a square right here at this intersection and said, yep, this is what we consider to be, in some sense, a community center for the Nameless community. And that is, coincidentally or not, where the Gray cabin was at, the Gray house. That's it. Actually, let me actually add one more final point. So here's the, I had at one point thought that the Nameless Valley Ranch Road was that intersection, but that's not right. This is the 64 aerial close up. So the road, and here's the school, here's the Gray house. So this is the intersection right here. It's the one that ran right by the Gray house. Here's a wider different angle on the 64. This here is Nameless Valley Ranch Road, which they're going to rename as Treviso Parkway. But this was the intersection. So when we've been going to the cabin, here's the school, Nameless School. We've been coming out this way, going up into the Treviso Parkway, the Nameless Valley Ranch Road here, and then cutting down probably on this road or somehow across the field in order to get to the cabin, because this road, the original road, well, it's bulldozed. When we got over there, it was already bulldozed, so we didn't see it. But this is the road that ran the intersection right by the cabin, the house, over to the school, and here's the Eliza Gray grave, cemetery, Briggs Cemetery, where her, the baby, and her husband are likely buried, maybe others. And this road is the one that then ran all the way up to Lander. So that's it. That's the intersection. And, you know, and it, when you look at it as a packaged thing, it's probably not a coincidence that Nameless School and the cemetery that we have here today are right there by that intersection. And again, in the 1880 census, we've got Gray and Stroud and Briggs are all neighbors. So where they were at exactly, you know, we don't know. But in the census, they're all fairly co-located. That's the intersection.